Now that we've done the data structures, then we can go on to the next question in the paper, which is to create the entity relationship diagram with its one-to-many relationships and indicating primary keys and foreign keys. Now, this is sometimes question 1 in the paper and the data structure question 2, but regardless, it's going to be worth 6 marks in any case. So if we just go and have a look at our exam paper, then you will see at the top it's got the structure here: client table, train table, activities table. In essence, we're going to do client ID as the primary key, train ID and activity ID. Underneath those, then we'll put at least 2 fields. From the data structures, at least 2 fields here and at least 2 fields here. So we'll use Microsoft Word to create that. Now, I normally insert text boxes, so go to Insert and we'll go to Shapes and we'll just insert a normal text box, resize it. Once you've done one, you can just copy and paste them a few times, and there we are. So we'll get that, just resize there. So this is going to be the activity table, and there's an activity ID, and in there I'm going to pick 2 of the fields, so description, location and other fields, and for client ID I've already done it. Indicate the primary key by, you could do it bold, but make sure you underline it. Training ID, I'm going to do the same now again in a moment, bold and underline it. And then I'm going to go to the next. Now with the training table, this is the transaction table. It must have the client ID in to link the tables together, and it must also have the activity ID in to link to that table. All right. Now I need to create I'm going to use the connector lines here, and I'm just going to use a standard line, and then I'll put the lines on it then, right? So, or you could just use a straight line. In fact, let's use a straight line just to get used to it. So I'm going to link client ID with client ID. All right. Now on that, you need to show crow's feet. Right? So let's make the shape outline. I'll make the weight just a little bit more. All right. And then I'm going to do the same with the other one. So insert a straight line from activity ID. It's got to be clearly activity ID to activity ID, not floating around in the table. It's got to point to activity ID. But you do also need to show 2 little lines to show the many relationship. So I'm just going to draw a little line there, and then I'll zoom in. It's a little bit fiddly, and I can understand in an exam it being ever so fiddly to do. And we're just going to move that to that position and move that to about there, so it looks like crow's foot, and then insert another line. If I insert that in that position, let's see how tidy we can sort of get that to maybe look a little bit like it, as long as it's clear that it's a crow's foot, and it'll need it there as well. If I go and show you the mark scheme, then you will see that you will require those crow's feet linked from client ID to client ID. So how do you get your marks? Correct relationship links from primary key to foreign key, and primary key to foreign key. Foreign keys in the client table. So from the client table exist in here. So client ID exists in the training table. Foreign key from the activities table, that's it there. Clients table must have some example fields, so I have 2 of those. Training table must have 2 other fields. I'll talk about those now. Activities table must have 2 fields. So if I go to finish off for my 6th mark now, in the training table, we must have time of visit and also weather. no, were there issues at that time? Oh, let's make sure it's on the right line. Issues and so on, or machines used.